You make. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. How's your morning? How was your weekend when I was gone? And Monday and Tuesday? Did you get to sleep in a little bit on the Monday? Hopefully. No? Oh, and some yes. Some yes is good. Some yes is good. Yeah. Well, I apologize if today my brain is a little zombie-ish. Hey, come on in, little zombie, because well, I flew in 11:55-ish last night, took a taxi and everything to the home and slept 1:30-ish. That's pretty late for me, like, and then work up like 7-ish. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully you watched the chapter for the last, recorded video. Not from the in-person class, but just from the scheduled recording class. Okay. So chapter 4, that covers all the components for the morning world part that will appear on a midterm 1. So that's there. But this is the sort of discussion that I was genuinely interested in, and I thought I'll get some reactions and comments and thoughts from you. We talked about different 4 types of common emotions and experience during leisure, which is, what were they? 4 common types of leisure. We got something starting with the I, interest, and then we got to these guys, excitement and relaxation and happiness. Thank you. So, but focusing on zooming into the excitement and relaxation here, they're kind of opposite, right? It's almost difficult to be excited and relaxed at the same time. So, you see the opposite nature. But as a society, well, first of all, what about your life right now? Hopefully there's a good balance between those 2 things. That you get some exciting moments, you get some relaxing moments. But is it, or is it not? But what about more systematically as a society? In Edmonton or wherever you're from or whatever, do we offer an opportunity for excitement and relaxation? Are we out of balance a little bit? Are we prioritizing one way or another? If so, how can we make the balance better through some of the leisure services? What kind of leisure services are available potentially? And that doesn't mean just, things that we're programming as a, city or anything, but some resources, leisure resources like social medias, YouTube stuff, whatnot, podcasts, I don't know. There are just so many different things. But what do you think? You can talk to each other just 30 seconds and let me know. Excitement and relaxation. How are we balancing? How are you balancing? How are we as a society balancing? What do you think? Good morning. Good. All righty. All right. Are we balancing these 2 well, or what do you think?
Like in my personal life?
Yeah. What about you personally?
I feel like I have like a good balance, like where like at night I can relax, or like
Good.
at certain times of the day I
And
try to relax.
What excites you then?
Hockey.
Hockey?
Yeah.
Playing hockey?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same here. Like I live in residence, and like from there's like a lot of exciting things.
I bet. I bet.
Go for like
Party.
and then I study and then go for study break. It's like we can just literally hang out at lounge together.
Good. So now, what about as a society, general, looking at their, what's happening out there, your family, your friends, what do you think? What do you think?
Society, like, relaxation more to like individual.
Okay. Okay. Right. But it's like a private, personal luxury stuff, right? You have to pay. It's not insured for sure. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, what about the excitement side? Like. Okay, that can be exciting. Alrighty, let's hear. What do you think? Curtis, is that a stretch or is that a handstand? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Why not, right? Stretching and raising hand. Yes, please.
I think there's like a pretty good balance of opportunities for both
In our society, okay?
in our society, but I think the problem is the accessibility of just sitting down and watching Netflix is way too normal. So like a lot of the time people work a lot, go to school and have like a busy day. And then they want to just sit down and relax.
Mm.
It's like there's opportunities out there. I was talking about like all the free programs for like cross-country skiing and leisure centers giving like incentives for like students and people that are traveling.
Right.
Try and get them out and stuff. But
Yeah,
it's just one more thing. It seems like it's so far away.
right.
You can just sit down and watch TV. So it's
Mm.
like we have the opportunities, but I think the challenge is marketing, like how like these activities, so more people can see it and
Yes.
normalizing it. So more people would want to go do it.
Makes sense. There are so many, well, home-based leisure opportunities and services right now, and one of them being the streaming services. That's so easy and so convenient. You can choose the stuff that you want to watch. Do you think it's primarily relaxation though? Not
I think it's
excitement?
primarily relaxation,
You
because so many people feel tired instead of like
Mm.
actually getting what they want, which is like
Yes.
maybe excitement. They just
Okay,
settle for-
right. And then you go like, how dare you that I have to get out of my house and I have to go to rec center, campus rec to do the activities. Like I'd rather stay home. Sometimes, I feel that way. Well, just want to sit in, stay at home with some maybe glass of wine Friday night and just not doing anything and just watch a movie with my wife. And that's just that. It's chill, true. So that's just that. It's so easy that it's sometimes when you compare with other things, then you have to go get out, you have to prepare, so on and so forth. Kind of,
I would say that it actually is very accessible.
Mm.
You don't have to leave your house. I teach on Zoom. There's like yoga classes on YouTube. There's free classes. I've now seen them on actually Netflix. There's yoga, there's fitness classes on Netflix from Nike trainers.
Mhm.
I think it's very accessible. There's free classes, there's low cost classes.
Right.
There's, you just, in a way though, you do have to put in that effort and make the choice to do it and plan it in your day.
Mm.
And yeah, and you do almost have to kind of look for it, like kind of Google around.
Right.
It might not just be in your face. You might have to actually look around a little bit. Like you said about the marketing or whatever, but it is there
Yeah.
for both.
Now, to me, that's interesting because you mentioned both the yoga, for example, yoga program, which is, I would say, more about relaxation, mindfulness, definitely, that side of spectrum versus fitness with the Nike or, one of those, there are so many YouTubers too, who are just like, very much motivating, just like very much cheerleader, really, they're not necessarily exercise, experts. I don't know. Maybe they are.
A lot of people went on Zoom.
Right.
My whole business was on Zoom.
Right. Then they do, but that's more excitement side. I would say probably the physiologically, but also like alert, you're encouraged, you're motivated, cheerlead. Now, I wonder, so now we can experience both at home very conveniently, but are they the same things that you can get? Are there different kinds, different levels and different types of excitement almost, different quality, different levels of quality? The kind of relaxation and excitement you can get at home with those services, are they the same when you, I don't know, what's the really exciting stuff that you did over the past year or so? Jasmine is like, I don't know. Well, maybe you get a lot of sports stuff, but Natalia, what?
Yeah, I think there's a difference with seeking out those excitement activities outside of the home.
Right.
Like, I do think there's a lot of opportunity to find those, whether it's going and watching live sports, that's kind of
Live sports.
exciting, going to a concert, or going and doing some like intense kind of outdoor activities, skiing, mountain biking.
Okay.
Like kind of more high excitement kind of types of
Sounds good.
activities.
Makes sense. Have you observed any trend over the past 10, well, I don't know how old are you, but you are, but over the past 10 years or so, like, I feel like there are more and more easy opportunity for relaxation, to be honest. The yoga, mindfulness, those things got picked up very much from coming from psychology science too. But like there's an app and service called Headspace. I think it was one of the first things too, like Netflix too. There's an app too that you have to pay that actually do our guided mindfulness and meditation basically. That stuff didn't exist 20 years ago. No, when I was younger, definitely not. Any other observation? Are you guys doing well in terms of balance between relaxation and excitement? No? Krista says no. Why? If you don't mind asking.
I just find it's really easy to get caught up in the hustle between like school,
Uh-huh.
balancing work,
Uh-huh.
especially if you have more than one job.
Mhm.
And then by the time you like get to your free time,
Uh-huh.
you're often like putting off laundry or like putting off some other chore that you probably should be doing.
Mhm.
So then your relaxation time is, you almost feel guilty you're not doing anything. Or like that free time is used to like shower or go get groceries, etc.
A little more self-care type of thing,
Yeah.
well, maintenance, whatnot. Okay, so that internal guilt is, I think, real, and it's been it's been one of those documented as one of the constraints, barriers. It's a constraint, but it's not that some things that exist, like a lack of money, like you can literally see on your bank account, like, whoa, $500 to finish off this month, way to go. Well, you have to be creative, not that kind of things, but also really up in here, that it almost like tells you or make you feel a certain way when you try to do something that it's not even like you work hard, you study hard, and like, I mean, objectively, probably you deserve some leisure, but this part of the mind tells you that you could do some assignment, you could study for the
Say
exam.
you get your stuff done, but at the end of it, you're not really, don't feel like you have the energy to do something. So at that point, you just want to shower and go to bed.
Go to bed. Okay. So the prioritization too, right? They are kind of somewhat related to the May's point about pose too, but when you have so many to-do lists and then leisure is at the bottom, okay, so I'm gonna hopefully have this, whatever the 30 minutes show you want to watch, right? But that just get pushed away. Finally, when you get to it, you're just exhausted that you don't even want to watch a show, or you don't want to do even 20 minutes stretching just because you don't have that, right? Do you feel that relaxation can easily slip into the negative side? Like you try to do something relaxing and that becomes either dull or boring or something like that, compared to how excitement side gets into negative side, like fear, anxiety, so on and so forth. I don't know. We're just thinking about it. Well, sure. What's up?
I also feel like some ways relaxation is not satisfying in terms of doing so.
Oh.
Like assignment kind of involves more activity. You feel like you're doing more stuff. For relaxation, for example, to just laying down on bed, like on your phone or like watching something and things like that. At the end of the day or end of the night, you feel like, was that worth it for me? Was that like good time for me or something like that?
Fantastic point. What's your name again? Chan. Great point. So what Chan is saying, relaxing experience may not be as satisfying, just you said. Now, that actually goes to really great point about some of the research looked at how emotion relates to how we remember experience, recalling process, basically. So basically, especially intense, and also actually negative emotions, they tend to have a more vivid recall, typically. And also, we can vividly recall the details, and there's also set meaning, more concrete meaning. Well, we think that was great experience. We think that it was traumatic experience, whatever, and that meaning will be set in stone, if you will. And it's difficult to change. But if it's positive, you can just recall that exciting trip to Africa. You will remember when you get 75. It doesn't matter. You can just. But one of those more lower also, and also even positive experiences, it tends to have more openness to the experience, so that it's open to interpretation. It's less vivid when you recall. So there's more room for that. But that's just a more advanced topic that research is showing. And that's actually related to the brain activity as well. So that's exciting. Any other questions about chapter 4 where we talk about Jasmine?
Is it talking about like physical and like excitement and relaxation? Because I feel like there's a lot of things that like I personally find mentally relaxing that wouldn't be like your typical form of like physical relaxation,
Tell me about it. What would be example?
like weightlifting. Like for 2 hours,
Weightlifting.
you don't think of anything. I find it, like, mentally relaxing.
Ah,
I come out of the gym feeling like mentally a lot better and like refreshed and feeling like I could tackle the day. But then obviously physically it's like
tiring.
not relaxing.
Right, of course. Yeah. Did you get that? Jasmine was saying that the difference between the physical and the psychological side of things, and then something like a weightlifting for her, you feel your mind is refreshed, right? In that sense, it's refreshed, relaxing in a way, but your body will be, of course, tired to an extent. So now that really nicely goes back to one of the concepts we discussed in terms of the relaxation, psychological detachment. So probably what's happening is that when you weightlift, you don't think about things like, oh, the assignments, oh, this work, this, relationship stuff, so on and so forth. You just focus on the weightlifting. So that zoning, sort of like a zoning out from every other, each daily issues and really focusing on one thing really helps you to simplify your mind process and actually psychologically detach too. You're not thinking about other stressors, which it could be very, well, relaxing. Now, not this one, but that psychological detachment slide. The Sonitag's research also found that though, that's a little different from the relaxation component. So for his research framework, so that not thinking about stress, your weightlifting, that's definitely psychological detachment, but probably not necessarily relaxing, depending on depending on so we're talking about psychological level here. So if you're not stressed out about, for example, how your form and your skills and how you're not, maybe your weight, how much you can actually lift is not moving, going up as you want it. So then it would be probably not necessarily so relaxing. But if it's happening, maybe then yeah, it could be. So relaxing in that sense is that you feel that it almost like your stress is melting away, and there's a strong connection between actually physiological sense and the psychological elements at that level, relaxation, that your muscles loosen up, your pulse changes, heart rate changes actually slower. So when it's happening, then it's a relaxing experience. But the fact that you're not thinking about it, and that helps you focus later, that's psychological detachment. So that psychological detachment piece that I want you to understand a little bit. And that's not sometimes same. It's like in a lecture we discussed flow. Flow is skill-based, right? So you have to bring a high skill. You have to be in a high challenge situation. And probably weightlifting can be sometimes high challenging. So in a truer sense, in a really objectively speaking, whatever you feel in your mind, it's actually not that relaxing per se. There should be more relaxing experience. But what's probably predominantly happening is that something like flow inducing experiences like that is really predominantly psychological detachment, that you don't have to think about it. And there's actually a whole theory about something like, for example, attention restoration theory, which is basically we're constantly engaging with something, multiple things typically. I'm thinking about family, my kid, I'm thinking about my partner, I'm thinking about this, exam, 3 exams, so on and so forth. And this urban life, then this life is very tiring in that sense. To really simplify it, you can do it through activity, exercise, you can do it through nature, and actually doing that, even like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, really helps your brain to actually be able to regain the attention, focus, and so on and so forth. Probably that's what's happening, but I'm not going to ask that. Well, I will ask that psychological detachment piece, but I will not ask about that details. But anything else about chapter 4? Kinley? No? Good. If you have any questions about the video lecture part, let me know. Send me an email. Okay? Okay. So let's do this one. Hopefully you got to see this file already. It's been there several days. So the midterm one, just quickly going through what's going to happen. It's Friday, 9 to 9:50. So, and it's here. So please be here around 8:50-ish. All right. Because we have to kind of begin at the 9. And if you have accommodations, you will be taking exam in the cab building. Cab will be over here, right? Second floor. Okay. Midterm 1 is 22% of your final grade, and chapter 1, 3, and 4 up to slide 40, and happiness part. It's going to be closed book. Now, general tip going over this, and then probably most of you took my exam, so probably you know, but first starting point, and if you haven't started, let's not panic. This will be the best place to begin, study guide. Okay, go to study guide always. And then go with the study guide, you can review your notes. And if you have any missing parts, let me know, okay? And I tend to recommend this, that you have this complete notes from lectures, but you always have that partial notes that exists on an e-class, right? So you can use that actually to sort of like a quick and dirty flashcard, memory check, kind of thing. So you can actually go through with the blanks and you can see like, okay, what concept, what word should go into each of those blanks, for example. Can you actually define and explain, give a little mini lecture about each key concept that's bold, underlined, red, so on and so forth, okay? When you do it, I personally recommend output. Like, try not to just, I think I understand. Not that, but try to say it out loud, write it out, typing, writing, whatever, and that typically helps. Okay? And especially the parts where we had discussions and activity. I try to put the discussion activity where I care, what I think important. So focus on that too. 16 multiple choices, short answer, 3 short answers. Multiple choice, we're going to use Scantron, just like normal. Mark something, always. And then write in a readable way, please. It doesn't have to be beautiful, okay? It doesn't have to be calligraphy, but. And if you can, please avoid cursive writing to connect everything. I just suck at it. So it would be in your best interest, to be honest. And bring just pencils and erasers and one card, okay? Any questions so far about exam? Good, just normal thing. Multiple choice, again, Scantron. And if you want to know your answers in a review session, so I'm gonna be away a little bit, but after that, we're gonna do review session. When we do, I cannot return you the Scantron, okay? So if you wanna know your answers, when you just mark on the Scantron sheet, you can just also quickly circle your answer or something like that on exam sheet. Make sense? You're gonna have exam sheet where the multiple questions exist. You have a Scantron mark sheet, just mark on the both sides quickly. And you always choose most appropriate answers. So if one option is like, yes, this is probably it, versus the second, another question is like 75%-ish right, but there's like a little weird part. Probably you should choose that first option, okay? That's sometimes where I'm going at. Like, can you actually differentiate? Not every question, but a few question, quote unquote, more challenging question. I'm really trying to sometimes tease out that, okay, these are actually conceptually difficult to distinguish. Can you still distinguish them? So sometimes that's the point of the question, okay? And each question is worth 1 point. Sample question. Also, you're here, great. You're here, so great. Sample question, review them carefully too. Because I don't want to be that person who says, these are the sample questions and the real exam questions like totally different. No, I don't think that's helpful. So I'll give you like 1 minute to think about it individually. If you want to quietly talk to each other, that's fine. But don't spoil it. This is not easy. If you remember chapter 1, We're talking about why is it important to study leisure. One of the studies that we found was talked about was Mary Parr's study about leisure practitioners. She found what is called a theory practice gap. What was it about? A, B, C, D, E. Everybody have your own idea? We're going to do this. Going from A. We think A. You don't have to look around, whatever you believe in. Just choose that net for now, because it's not exam just yet. Okay, A is good. B. C. D. E. Okay, we get some D's, and we got a few A and B's. Okay, and that's, well, sometimes what I'm going for. Now, the correct answer is D. Why? Why? Because the theory practice gap. And if you remember, sometimes I put the image so that also represents what the concept is. You know, the two faces kind of yelling at each other. What the theory gap was, a theory practice gap was, whatever that name is. First and foremost, it's really pointing finger at each other, which is never helpful. That group of people, practitioners and researchers, they're basically blaming, well, the other party do not do this well. Like, for example, researchers saying that, this one is researchers, that researchers thinking that practitioners do not understand or do not put enough effort to understand research, or do not have enough skills and knowledge to understand the research. Versus practitioners think, what do they think? Practitioners, do you remember? I will go Lina this time. The people like me are out of touch with the reality. Yes, there you go. Yes, but that's the thought that counts. You see, the point of this gap is that there's a gap in tensions because they make each other's about this negative assumptions that they don't do this, they don't do that, so on and so forth. That's why there's the gap. Okay, not necessarily the reality. We talked about it, right? It's not that the practitioners, for example, don't have the knowledge or don't make efforts. The reality is, many of you mentioned, they're busy, right? That doesn't represent the reality, but the thought that's really not helping, bridging the two groups. Make sense? I may not ask directly this question per se, but if I ask similar questions, okay, because you're here, you know, which counts. Next one. We talked about like basic research concepts like operational definitions, variable, empirical, hypothetical construct. So here's hypothetical research. Please tell me what is a variable here. Now this time, let's talk to each other. Let's talk to each other. Just knock on your neighbor's shoulder. We don't have to, not actually enough, but what is that? Make sure you have some answer yourself first. What do you think? Which one do you think? A? What do you think? Yang? Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Discuss. Which one you got? You thought E. Okay. B? Ooh. E? There's a difference. Which one would that be? What we got?
I thought you were gonna.
Gentlemen?
Yeah.
It was just a little bit of deception, sorry. You pick A? Both of you?
I think so.
Okay, does anybody remember what variable is though? What variable is? What is variable? Yes, sir. It's part of the variable. Thank you. Josh, before commenting on that, Josh, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, isn't it the differences that you find from the data that you collect?
I like the way you're going. I like the way you're going. I know why Siri mentioned that part. There's actually a variable component. Okay, so I see where the source of the potential difficulty is. Anybody else before I comment on this? Anybody else wants to say anything about this? Yes, Luna. It's what vary across cases. That's the definition of variable. Thank you. It's as simple as it is. It's important to understand what that is. So, for example, we got this group of people. Let's say you all participate in a research, right? For example, I'm assuming that your, for example, your height vary across you. You're not on actually the same height. That would be very, very scary. That would be very weird. But you're not. So that's the height would be very one of the variables. But once again, we talked about in the class, well, what about UOA student status? I'm assuming everybody's UOA student. If not, that would be weird. Hey, I'm just in this question from the beginning of semester. I'm not a student at the UOA. That'd be weird. But I'm assuming that's not a variable, right? Because it's a constant. Make sense? It's the same. So typically, we're interested in some sort of variable. Now, going back to Siri's point about experiments. Now, we talked about first principle, the 5 principles, and the first one was about random assignment of what's called a causal variable or independent variable. Now, that's a certain kind of variable. The variable that we think is impacting whatever the outcome we want to see. Let's say we're this new exercise treatment, right? Exercise physiotherapy treatment. We think that that has impact on the mental health. So the mental health is outcome, and that new treatment or not, that is basically the causal variable. But that's a specific kind of variable. It does vary definitely between the groups. Okay, but variables definition was what Lena said. Now, with that thought in mind, would you change your answers? Okay, so good. So we're gonna go from top again. A, B, C, D, E, F. There's no, I don't, sorry. Thank you. Sorry about the E people. You're not wrong, actually, because I run out of my ideas of options for this question, actually. So E is technically, assuming that these are normal people, that they're not the same personality, which is very, very creepy again. Technically, this is a personality is also variable too, but it's not part of the description. So I'm not saying that this is the correct answer, but I will make actual exam question a little more clearer, so you don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, good. You're understanding this, but you want to choose something in the description though. Now, B, leisure motivation is variable. Why is A not variable? They are all asked to do so, yes.
They're still imagined.
Yeah, their condition itself, yes, exactly. It's not about like specific types of imagination people are having. It's just the fact that people are imagining when they're supposed to. Yes, some people don't read the questions and answer survey, so they may not be thinking, but that's a whole another issue. The last sample multiple choice. First and foremost, I want you to get used to with this kind of stuff. Like I sometimes do the, 2 blank-ish. You will not see 3. Okay, I'm not that jerk. Oh my God, can you imagine like there's a 3, 4 blanks in one multiple choice? I'm like, oh my God. Ooh, this is chapter 4. At the very beginning, we talked about autonomy. I separated autonomy from freedom. We talked about reason. Okay, I'm gonna just write. Can we go ahead, or you want to talk? You want to just. Okay. Who think A? Who chose A for now? Okay. B, C, D. That's okay. That's D, E. Okay. So most of you are on this upside, this side, right? Choose side. So that's where I want you to be. The reason why I separated autonomy from freedom is that recent research, in lecture we discussed, recent research suggested that actually autonomy doesn't necessarily require choice freedom per se. That for example, I use my example with my wife always, that my wife told me that let's play badminton. I don't have, I technically have a choice, but you know what's going to happen if you say no. My personal recommendation, no, don't say that. Yes, sweetie, but I still like these sports, just genuinely, right? I still think that exercise is good for me. Okay, so that I have an interest in values. I agree with I have the personal interests that are consistent with the chosen activity in this case. I value that too, as long as there's a consistency in that on that level, right? Value and interest, you can still feel autonomous. You can still feel quote unquote one with the activity. You don't have to be there like, oh, I wish I'm doing something else. Make sense? And that's a little different. Actually, research shows that different from freedom. And that gets more important when we talk about cross-cultural research in chapter 9. Okay. So A is correct. Thank you. All right. If you're on the top side, you're good. Just make sure that autonomy is about values and interest. A, yes. Now the short answer, there may be a few sub-questions, and I try to make some of the short answers not easy, but some components may not even sentence, like literally give me one word. Okay, so sometimes if you see that, don't panic. I'm literally asking one word, okay, or 2 words sometimes. So hopefully that won't take your time much. Grammars, don't worry about it, as long as they make sense, okay? If a question asks 2 things, 1 thing, 3 things, whatever, give me that number. Okay, if you try to give me 5 things when I ask 2, I'm not going to be able to mark everything and give you the best score because it won't be fair. Okay, so we're going to just mark the first 2 that you gave us. Okay, so that's the rule. And once again, read in a readable way. I'm not that picky. So this one you have model answers. But I hope that you would do it before seeing answer. Maybe you have done it already, and that's great. Now, for sample questions for this short answer or the multiple choice, don't just try to memorize the answer, because then you feel like you may get tricked. But I may actually change the content. So if you get the answer wrong, that's fine now. Make sure you go back to the notes too. Okay, you conceptually understand what we're talking about in terms of, let's say, theory practice gap or whatever here. If you're not sure, always email me, always talk to me, always set up a meeting with me. Email me is the first step, okay? You can email me from now on to Thursday night to maybe Friday morning, hopefully not too much, but you can email me pretty much at any time, okay? I try to get back to you as soon as possible. This one is about this part is about definition, right? Groups of definition we talked about, subjective, objective phenomena of leisure, and internal and external bondage point. In this hypothetical research, which one am I choosing? It's the qualitative one is the research methods. I see where, but okay.
Unless you're rating their emotions, like rated on a scale of 1.
I see where you're going with that, and there's a link between the qualitative, quantitative versus what type of leisure phenomena, especially looking at, and also vantage point you're taking. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, I know. But they're technically, yeah, they're linked too, Krista. So that's good. You remember that 2x2 model? Oh, I put the markers out because I went to the States on airplane. I wanted to draw. Anyway, but that, box and then, 2x2 because it's objective, subjective phenomena. Objective phenomena being Leisure is a time, activity, and setting. Subjective side, psychological experiences. So which one are we looking at here? Yes. Because emotions right there. Well, no. 28 apparently. There you go. And then what about the in terms of vantage point, perspective, like who gets to decide what leisure is? Aiden. Researcher gets to decide what leisure is because I'm giving an operational definition, which is like whatever the definition and also measurement based on the measurement, right? Of what leisure is or whatever that is, the focus of the study is in this particular study. So I am giving you the definition. You got to follow my definition. That's what I'm doing, right? Now, yes. So that's you can just say researcher. I will take that. You can say external. That's what the name was. I will take that. Either way, doesn't matter. Because name to me for this one doesn't really matter. But the concept, you get the concept, okay? And you can differentiate them. Now this, can you flip them? Is that what you? No. How? Why she? Oh, sorry. Well, I can be gender fluid. He focuses on the other type of phenomena, leisure phenomena, and takes the other vantage point, as in literally flip the study and describe it. Make sense? That means this one was subjective phenomena. So we have to now focus on the objective side. And we have to focus on the internal vantage point. So the participant gets to decide what leisure is. Can we flip it and describe the study? Huh. I mean, the model answer is on the next page, so I'm not gonna. We can go over it if you want to. If you have any other question, we can talk about, but I think that's the end of it. So, oh, this is not the blank. Actually, like, you know what I'm saying? This is not filling blank. This is just actual blank. Survey with the leisure blank. If you remember, one of the methods survey we talked about is the internal vantage point version of survey, which lists leisure 10 statements. So there's leisure blank, so people can actually define it from their perspective. Yes.
Say something. We ask participants to say, define what leisure is for you, or define the top for leisure activities, and how many hours per week you spend on each of those activities.
Yes, you can say that. That would be also, I can see that's internal because you're not providing the definition of leisure, right? You're trying to get the definition, their definition of leisure, and you're focusing on objective side. Good. Okay. So, good luck. I love me. So if you have any questions, just email me. All right. And we can set up an online meeting if you wanna. And always start with the study guide. Okay. Well, good luck. Grab a coffee or not grab a coffee. And I'll see you Friday. Okay. Did I answer your second question? You said you had one more question.
Oh, no, it was the pause.
Oh, that was a posed one, right?
Yeah, that was the
What was the first question? First question was the
graph.
right graph. So that's good. Right.